Could Meghan Markle's zucchini pasta actually be as good as she says it is, or is she lying? So this recipe came from a Delish article Meghan did, and the ingredients are zucchini, onion, some chicken bouillon, a little bit of cheese. I'm going to add some butter into it, but you don't need that. These three ingredients are the basis of it. Very simple, but it will take 4 hours to cook. That's the catch. So we're going to start by nicely dicing this onion. It's basically going to melt into nothing, so the smaller pieces, the better. Repeat that process also with the zucchinis. I'm going to cut it down the middle twice. That way each slice gives me a quarter. We're going to use 5 small zucchinis here. The smaller ones are a little sweeter and have less seeds in them, but it took about 4 to 5 of these smaller ones to make a 2-person portion. So just keep that in mind when you're buying zucchinis. But those pieces there are the perfect size. Just work your way through all of those, and then we're ready to start putting this sauce together. A little bit of olive oil into my Dutch oven. We're going to throw those onions in cold. You don't really want them browning, so starting them from a low temperature kind of helps with that. Salt them to get some of their moisture out, and let these just become translucent over the next 5 to 8 minutes. Right there is what you're looking for, and now we can toss in all of that zucchini. Once you get all that zucchini in, we're just going to give it a little bit of a stir just to make sure everything's nice and well mixed together. We're going to add in half a cup of water, and then we're going to add in 1 cube of chicken bouillon. If your store doesn't have the cubes and just has the packs like mine did, 1 pack is equal to 1 cube. So just throw that in, give it a nice little mix together. That way you get that seasoning mixed in with the water and all those onion and zucchini juices that have already kind of leached out. And then all we're going to do is we're going to throw the lid onto this, and we're going to cook it for 4 hours. Here we are at the 1 hour point. I just wanted to show you what it's going to look like. The lid will be keeping that moisture in, which is really helpful, but it's just starting to break down. Meghan calls this mush, so that's really the consistency you're looking for. But I'm going to cover that up and let that go the rest of the 4 hours. Here we are at that 4 hour point. You can see the consistency has really changed. It is very mush-like, yes, but it's not watery. It's a kind of baby food looking mixture, but it is kind of cohesive. It's not loose. It has thickened greatly. So we're going to add in 1/2 of a lemon, the juice only. I'm going to add in a little red chili flake. You don't need to do this. And then we're also going to add in some black pepper and a little bit of butter. That's 1 tablespoon. Meghan's recipe doesn't add in that butter, and I don't think she adds in the cheese either, but I remember from the Stanley Tucci pasta, which is what I kind of want to compare this to, butter made all the difference. So we're going to add that butter in, and we're going to add in cheese. We're just going to mix that thoroughly until that butter melts down. You can see the butter really helps it emulsify, which is great. And now we're going to mix this together with the pasta of your choice. I'm using rigatoni because I think it'll hold that sauce really well. And I'm also going to mix it in a separate pan. That way you could control how much of the sauce you're actually getting. A little bit of pasta water is going to go a long way, and now we're going to mix in some grated parm. You can use whatever cheese you want, but parm is really nice for this. And just keep mixing that mix of the sauce, the pasta water, and the cheese until you get the consistency you're looking for. I wanted a little more sauce in there, which is why I do this in a separate pot and pan. It could be too much sauce if you do it all straight in that Dutch oven. But keep just kind of leveling it out with that pasta water. That will help this really become a nice sauce and not just zucchini that's kind of melted and thrown on top of pasta. You can see it's starting to really cling to the sauce. Give it a little bit of a taste, see where you're at. I thought it needed a little more cheese, so we're just going to grate that in, give it another splash of that pasta water, mix it all together. I'm really excited to taste this. The Stanley Tucci zucchini pasta nerano was my favorite dish I've made on this channel, so I'm really holding this kind of melted down zucchini pasta on a pedestal at the moment, and I want to see if this one lives up to it. So we're just going to plate this very simply, throw it out onto a plate or a bowl of your choice. You can see that sauce is really coating the pasta beautifully, which is what I remember doing with the Stanley Tucci one. We're going to top it with a little bit of that extra sauce, a little bit of some parm cheese, and then we're going to hit it with just a little bit of olive oil because I've been doing that on all my pasta lately. Once you get that all assembled on your plate, we could finally tackle that question of, is this dish better or worse than the Stanley Tucci zucchini pasta? And that's what I'm really curious to find out. So let's dive in, let's give this dish a taste and see what we think. So first impression is you do really get a deepness from that chicken bouillon. If I had never made the Stanley Tucci pasta, I would love this dish because it is good, but I do guarantee that the Stanley Tucci one is better tasting. But I do recommend trying this. It is easier, and give it a go.